Hello, everyone.
So,
How are you doing? I haven't had the opportunity to meet as many of you as I'd like to, but I'm Bev Scott, and I'm the founder and CEO for introducing you to American Infrastructure Inc. Okay, and I'm joined by Isaiah, and Isaiah is a fellow with IA, and he lives in Chicago, and that was the site of our program last year. And so one of the things I'm really, and you met Sitlali last week as well, and you'll meet some other people. Okino, that the point that I'm making to you is that we really try to walk what we talk at Aya. And so young people who have, and I want to get you excited because young people who have been a part of our program, and we've done programming in the District of Columbia, we've done programming in Chicago, we've actually done some programming in Bridgeport, Connecticut, a little bit in LA. Young people that are a part of this infrastructure program, we want you for a lifetime, okay? And so we make a real point of the young people who participate with us of having opportunities, even within IA, to wind up doing internships and really having exposure opportunities, deep exposure opportunities, not just somebody coming and checking a box at a career day, with the people who really are the ones who are doing the infrastructure sectors every day. Okay. So anyway, I'm not going to overdo it there, but we are absolutely excited. Okay, we want you to feel as though you are really a part of us. We made the decision. I live in the Bay Area. We made the decision that we looked at through California to see where we felt would be the best place for us to have the home base for IA. Okay, IA Plus, and decided that that would be the Inland Empire, and are just absolutely thrilled to be partnering with San Bernardino Valley College. It is just it's just a thrill for us, and we can't say enough about Dean Quach and the team, and particularly Professor Castro and Miss Epps, okay, who have been who are our points of contact. So tonight, what we're going to wind up doing is you're going to get a whole bunch of Southern California, your two of your really big operator and and support part of your operation. So let's put it this way: Metrolink is going to be the first one up. And Metrolink is one of the of several transportation operators that you're going to operators, doers, planners that you're going to be hearing about. Okay. Um, Metrolink is let me be real clear, is your commuter rail operator for the Southern California area. And that's what makes them so absolutely unique. So now I also want you to know from a national perspective, they are in the top 10. They're one of, and Alyssa will correct me but I want to say that Metrolink is the 8th largest of the commuter rail operators around the United States. Okay, and so it is a major force within nationally, but also within Southern California. Okay. And so we are absolutely thrilled. Darren Kettle is the new CEO. And one of the things I want to really highlight about Metrolink is that we have a lot of partners and contributors, but Metrolink is one of the sponsors for the program. And so when you hear us talking about the youth packs and all of that, and we got t-shirts and we got all these gizmos, the ones who actually underwrote all of that, which will make it possible for us to have this December 14th, put December 14th emblazoned in your calendars, okay? December 14th, we're gonna wind up receiving, hopefully, your own little your videos about what really struck you about infrastructure that will be, one, make you eligible if you have participated in at least 5 of these lecture series for a drawing for the youth pack. And then we have, in addition to that, once again, this is optional, but it also involves the video, the opportunity for what will be 2 paid internships. And our internships are at minimum wage for the 2022 year, okay? And those will be 2 IA internships. And then you'll be doing things very similar to what at some point, hopefully, Isaiah and Sitlala, that you will actually be the people that will be right there on the scene of working with as ambassadors and program administrators working with the next class. So we want to really thank Alyssa DeCasparis, okay, who is the chief people officer with Metrolink, and she's going to be telling us about Metrolink and a lot about how she kind of came through in this industry, because these are sectors that we oftentimes you don't find as many women. It's gotten to be more, and people of color, okay, but it's gotten to be more. But we have a lot of work to do there. And then the other that you're going to be hearing about this evening is LA Metro. And Stephanie Wiggins is the chief executive officer, and she is a woman of color, and she was previously the chief executive officer at Metrolink. But you're going to be hearing about LA Metro. And just to give you a sense, LA Metro is the third largest public transit agency by ridership in the country. So you have New York, then you have Chicago, and then you have LA Metro. And the interesting thing about LA is you're thinking about careers, and you get a lot of that at Metrolink too. There's some public transit operators that are mainly the operator, okay? They're mainly the operator, great positions and all of that. But in both the case of Metrolink as well as LA Metro, you get a lot more of the planning, the coordination, the funding coordination, that kind of, you get a focus. No question, we're always operating, but these have a portfolio that actually opens up a range of other positions, which if you're directly the operator, a lot of times you don't get as much of that diversity. Sometimes you don't get as much of that diversity. You do here. So just a little bit, there's Metrolink over there, and Alyssa's gonna talk about Metrolink. We're gonna be joined shortly by Stephanie Burke, and Stephanie is gonna be talking a little bit about her career and what's open at LA Metro. Take me to the next one, Isaiah. So here that Alyssa has, if you were here earlier, you were hearing us talk. She has a very, and I'm not going to take any of her thunder, but she's been out here in this stuff well over I'm not going to say 3 decades yet, but she's certainly 2. And you'll notice when she starts talking, you're going to hear a whole lot of New York coming through, okay? And so she's going to tell you about what the journey has been like for her and give you a sense of just how the range of types of experiences and exposures. And then a lot of it is what you bring deep in yourself in terms of your own inspiration and sticking to it. I always tell people, if I could give you any gift, I'd give you the gift of resilience. And that is, if this door gets closed, you go through this door, you get this one, that, but I'm not going to take her thunder. And then Stephanie is going to follow, and she's going to talk about LA Metro and some of the careers there. Okay, take me to the next one, Isaiah, so I can get my big mouth off of here. You hear us and Aya talk an awful lot about about community and what these careers are all about. So when you hear about the transportation sector and the water sector and the energy sector and critical communications and all that, these are all critical infrastructure sectors. I've been in public transport for 40 some years. I've worked at 9 systems and I've run 4 of them. And I always tell people, I say, you should ask me, not I fell into it, but not so much that is why did I stay? And the reason I stayed is because I have literally been blessed to be in the business of community building across this country. And that is what is the magic of these infrastructure sectors. Every single thing that you care about, clean water, energy, who got a park, how long does it take you to get to the grocery store? What about affordable housing, healthcare? All of these things, my environment, all of that. I always laugh and say, who do you think does all that? It's the people in the infrastructure sectors, okay? And these are sectors that oftentimes are very, they're visible, they're invisible. But think of it this way. We're the folks We're the folks that make normal happen, that make normal happen. Take any of them away, take the water away, take the transportation away, take the energy away, take the healthcare away, take the financial services away, take any of them away. And just imagine, close your eyes and imagine what your day, what your life would be like. So that's what we're selling, is that we're selling the magic of being able to be a person who helps to make normal happen. And we're asking of young people, and we know normal got a lot of problems with it. So we not just talking about any normal, is a just normal and a real normal that really lifts up all communities, all boats, all people, and we want young people to be a part of that. So that's why your projects, as you think about them, we want to hear from you. Because you got a big stake in this. You're the future, but you're now. We want to hear from you about if you were the one that had the decision-making power today, what would you like to see different about your transportation systems, your electricity systems, your water systems? What would you recommend? What would you say that you would do differently, better? We want you to reimagine what you feel normal would look like, okay? And so that's the theme, and we're very blessed. The lady you see here was actually Dr. Juanita Jones Abernathy. She was, it was her home that was bombed in Montgomery. She was Reverend Abernathy's wife, and was one of the four with Reverend Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King. And we were very honored to have her as a founding, before she passed, as a founding member of IA, our board. And the My Beloved Community Project, which we do, which is all about your thoughts, your vision, is we named that in honor of her, okay? And so with that, I'm going to, Isaiah, you want to say a few things, and then let's go real quick on this goodie bag, and then we're going to get to Alyssa. And
yeah, of course.
Anything in the chat I should be okay.
Nothing in the chat has come in yet. But
okay.
Yeah, what's up, guys? You guys already know me. I'm Isaiah. I'm part of the IA team. I'll make this very, very short and sweet, because I don't want to take time away from Alyssa and Stephanie. But basically, if you guys continue to attend these sessions, 5 minimum, you're eligible to apply for our IA scholarship and our internship, as well as you are also entered into a goodie bag drawing. And I don't have like all the stuff, because I was using a bunch of them. Not gonna lie, like this tripod. This is just one of the things that are included. We also get you get a microphone that you could plug into your phone / computer. I was using it. This is actually my personal favorite. This is the ring light. I know all of you, anyone who uses Instagram, anyone who takes Instagram seriously, you guys know about ring lights. You guys got to increase your selfie game. I admittedly use this multiple times a day, because I love taking selfies. So like if I'm trying to look good, like I need the ring light. Anyone who takes selfies knows that like lighting is important. And like we got a bunch of stuff. We got the Aya wristbands, the Aya shirt. I got the Aya bag here somewhere.
And now these are all because of Metrolink. Okay, I'm saying, so we talk about the goodie bag. The goodie bag is the Metrolink goodie bag. Okay. And the internships are HDR, and you'll be listening to them a little bit later again, because remember, after this session, for those who are interested, now this is only for young women, but guys, we really love you, okay? They're going to be coming back from 5 o'clock to 5:30 to talk about the Women's Transportation Seminar scholarship applications that are due on October, I believe it's the 22nd. So we just have a half an hour that 2 of those speakers are going to come back, and they're going to go through what that application actually is that goes into the Inland Empire chapter of the Women's Transportation Seminar. And that's really that's really a scholarship opportunity that you would be eligible for. Okay, so that's a little bit. So now, without any further ado, we are going to turn this over, and I'm just waiting to listen myself to Alyssa. DeCasparis, and Alyssa, I hope I pronounced it correctly.
You're
Okay.
doing a great job.
I got you. Okay, you are on, Alyssa. Take it away. Okay.
So I'm very happy to be here today to address you guys. You'll notice that my accent is different. I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I moved to California in January of 2017. And so a lot of people make fun of my accent, but I don't think I have one. I actually met my husband here and he's still trying to figure it out. I said, once you can understand what I'm saying, then we can get married. So he now understands what I'm saying. He also imitates me often. Like the biggest imitation I think for him is when I say, okay, pause the TV, which sounds normal to me. And he says, okay, I'll pause the TV. I said, that's what I said. He goes, all right, I'll pause the TV. So we have a lot of conversations. There's words that I use that he doesn't understand. You know, I say pocketbook. In California, they say purse. A purse is something I put into my pocketbook. I still say pocketbook. In California, you guys say the before a freeway number, like the 15 and the 91 and the 210. So now I learned to say the. I don't understand why I'm doing it, but I learned to say it. So I'm happy to be here to tell you a little bit about myself and to tell you more about Metrolink and to tell you or to explain to you what we do and how we do it. So for the most part, being born and raised in New York, I took buses and subways. And what's your assumption when you take a bus and a subway? It's going to show up, you're going to get on it, and it's going to take you to your destination. But people don't ever really think about what goes into getting that bus at that bus stop and getting that train to the subway stop. It doesn't just appear there because it does. There's a whole group of people behind the scenes who are making sure that we get the buses and the trains where they need to go. So I know, a lot of us grow up, and as we're growing up, when we're 6 years old and someone says, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you say, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a policeman, I want to be Wonder Woman, I want to be a ballerina, whatever it is that you want to be. And then as you get educated and as you go through school, you think of other things that you might want to be. And I was talking to Dr. Scott yesterday, and I told her that despite the fact that I have a JD, I fully recognize and appreciate the fact that not everybody needs to have a college degree to enter the workforce. And especially in transportation, people don't realize what you can earn and what your trajectory can be in transportation. So let me tell you a little bit about how I ended up in transportation, why I left, and how I got back. So I worked full time. I went to law school at night, and that meant Monday to Thursday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. for 4 years, because day school was 3 years and night school was 4 years. And I wanted to be, if you look at my high school yearbook, I wanted to be a United States Supreme Court justice. But apparently I didn't make it to Ruth Bader Ginsburg's position. She got there before me. So I went in, when I was working full time, I was working in legal services for DC 37, which is the largest municipal labor union in the city of New York. And one of their benefits in the benefit plan was free legal services for all union members. And we had a number of departments where we offered free legal services. And I was in consumer frauds, which was, to me, the best thing you could possibly do, because I wasn't involved with people getting divorced or people losing their homes or people being evicted. It was fun. I was able to make sure that if your oven broke, we got you a new one. If your car was a lemon, we got it taken care of. I had no problem calling CEOs for $30 issues. My boss used to say it's $30, and I would say, okay, so the CEO can give him back $30. I'm going to give him a call. That was fun. And then I saw an ad for New York City Transit Authority. And I was in legal services for 11 years, doing consumer frauds. And I saw an ad for the New York City Transit Authority, labor relations. And I thought to myself, that's really interesting. Labor relations in New York City Transit. Now, I need you guys to know, New York City Transit at that time, in the year 2000, don't try to figure out how old I am right now. In the year 2000, had 45,000 employees. Right now they have 50,000. So I applied and I got the job. And I was a hearing officer for New York City Transit, which meant that I dealt with the unions. I listened to the disciplinary cases and the contract disputes and made the final decision before they were going to arbitration. I was at New York City Transit for about 2 years. 9/11 happened. And I have a 9/11 story. Many of you hear 9/11 stories. My 9/11 story was that I had a car accident on September 10th. And because of that car accident, I didn't go to work on September 11th. And that's my 9/11 story. I was asleep because I was injured. I was asleep. And my now ex-husband called and he said to me, "Where does Michelle work?" And I'm thinking, you have to remember, where we talk fast, we're not mean people. People think New Yorkers are rude. We're not rude, but we're like, let's go, come on, get to the point, get it out there, say it. And I said, what kind of question is that? Where does Michelle work? She works at the World Trade Center. He said, which building? I said, the one on West Street. He goes, which one? Which building? I go, the one on West Street. She gets off the bus one stop before me, because we took an express bus into the city. He said, listen, which building does she work in? I said, why are you asking me the stupid question? The World Trade Center is on West Street, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She works in the big one. He said, put the television on. I put the TV on. I saw the plane in the building. I dropped to my knees, literally physically dropped to my knees. And I said, I don't know which building she works in. Now, both of us work downtown. She worked in the World Trade Center and I worked 2 blocks away from her in 1993 when the underground attack happened. And that now I see this plane in the building. And I said to him, where are the air traffic controllers? What did they do? And then I saw what I believed to be a replay, but it was actually the second plane. And I said, I don't know where she is. What about my office? What about the people I work with? What about, because we were a couple of blocks away. I don't, and I, as you can imagine, the whole day was something that I can tell you literally minute by minute what went on. People don't realize that New York City Transit was impacted tremendously, and that within hours, New York City Transit mobilized thousands of employees to the World Trade Center, because we had trains underneath. And we had to make sure that that passengers got out, which they did. We had to make sure our all of the underground, the subway system had to be addressed as well. It wasn't just what was going on above ground. It was also what was going on below ground. And after this is all done, I'll send some photos over so that we can share them with you of what it looked like underneath the World Trade Center on 9/11. And what I found most amazing was that the subway system for New York City Transit was over 100 years old. And the steel beams that held that, the underground, the steel beams that went from the ground to the ceiling were barely bent. That's how strong the beams were. But due to the heaviness of what was going on top, the tunnels collapsed. So I have some great pictures that I'll send over so that they can be shared with you. They're pictures that are not truly never before seen, because I work there. You'll see pictures of the train that moved the water out of the stations so that we can start rebuilding, and the rebuild is completely done. But after that event, and I went back to work, we had daily bomb scares, daily bomb threats. And I had 2 young children, and it truly frightened me that every day we were walking down the steps because we got a bomb threat, we got a bomb threat, we got a bomb threat. I remember one day, we used Nextels back then. If you don't know what a Nextel is, it's a phone that had a little button on the side, and you would beep the person you wanted to speak to, and it was like a walkie-talkie. And one day I walked down the steps and I got on the bus and I went home, and I Nextelled my boss, and he says, "What's going on, Alyssa?" I said, "Just want to let you know I'm on the bus. I'm on my way home." He said, "What do you mean you're on your way home?" I said, "I can't walk down the steps again." And I stayed for another 6 or 8 months, and I left New York City Transit to go to healthcare. And I stayed in healthcare for 20 years. But I want to go back to New York City Transit before I get back to Metrolink. And it's kind of the same. What I want you to know is that transit agencies, when you think of a transit agency and a job, it's not just the conductor, and they're not just the bus operators, and they're not just the mechanics. A transit agency is a corporation in itself. It's a company that has every single title that any major company has. We have an accounting department, we have finance, we have human resources, we have safety, we have customer relations. Every major company you think of, Amazon, Google, all the big tech industries, we have the same exact titles. But what we do is we move people. We move people. And that is probably, especially in today's times, the most important thing I can say to you is that, especially during COVID, we were the agency. We're essential too. Nobody thinks of transportation workers being essential, but we move the healthcare workers to their jobs. We move the restaurant workers to their jobs. We move people. Metrolink is moving now towards kind of a rebranding, because we want people not to think of us as a commuter rail system. We operate in 6 counties in Southern California, which is what Dr. Scott was telling you, how large we are. And we want people to know that we're not just a commuter rail. We're going to take you to the ball game. We're going to take you to the concerts. We're going to take you to the events. We have all sorts of great programs at Metrolink. We interact with our customers, literally interact with you. You text us, you Instagram us, you mention us, we will respond to you. We have a 15-year-old who is so interested in what we do and wants to work for Metrolink when he grows up, that when it was his birthday, we sent him the birthday package, because he daily sends us messages and pictures and things like that. We interact. So my trajectory went from New York City Transit to healthcare. And when I was in healthcare, I worked for both healthcare unions as a labor negotiator, and I worked for hospitals in human resources. And then I was the executive director of a union. And if you could imagine, it was Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School. Their doctors, their faculty are unionized. Could you imagine doctors have a union? So I represented 1,400 doctors and dentists and nurse practitioners and scientists and PhDs at Rutgers Medical School and Rowan School of Osteopathic Medicine. And what brought me to California was, I love New York. I'd say Brooklyn born, Brooklyn raised, Brooklyn girl. Brooklyn born, Brooklyn bred, Brooklyn girl till I'm dead. That's what I say. But here I am in California, and I say thank you that I can watch the snow on the mountains, not in front of my front door. Because that snow could literally put you in an early grave. So I came out to California because my younger son came out here to go to Chapman to go to college. And every time I visited, let me go back. I expected to go to Florida. That's the New York thing. You go from New York to New Jersey, maybe stop in Pennsylvania and land in Florida. But my younger son came out to Chapman, and every time I visited, I was like, oh, it's nice here. It's nice in California. Even though in CVS, as soon as I walk in, 7 people saying, hello, 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 how can I help you? And I'm thinking, stop, please stop. I can't remember what I came in for. Please stop saying hello to me. I know, I get it. You're all nice. Please don't pack my bags for me. I know how to do it. I know I want my ice cream in this bag and I want my bread in this bag. So it's been a learning curve in terms of that. I came out to work for a hospital, and I worked in the hospital for 4 years. And then I saw there was a position open at Metrolink. And I went back to my roots in transportation. I applied for the position. I actually thought I did terrible on the first interview. I told my husband that was the worst interview I ever had. They're not going to call me back. And then I got a call back. I was thinking, that's odd. I got a call back. And then I got the offer. And I am the first chief people officer that Metrolink ever had. They've never had a chief people officer before. And my role as chief people officer also includes being the equal employment opportunity officer. So I work closely with my recruitment team on diversity, equity, and inclusion. I don't know if you've heard those words or the initials DE&I. And one of the things that we look for when we're hiring is we try to make sure that we get a good number of applicants in various groups. We want female applicants. We want male applicants. We want minority applicants. We want disabled applicants. We want to make sure that we're looking at the whole and we provide opportunity, and that we don't, because transportation was always a male-dominated industry. Women don't think about it as a place to go. But again, we are a company like every other company, and we have all of these opportunities. So here's an example. I have 2 sons. One has graduated college, and he owns a kitchen and bath design company. The other one graduated high school, and he's also an entrepreneur. He owns a gaming company in New York, where I can't explain it because I am too old to understand it, but they do Pokemon and Dungeons and Dragons. They sell the Pokemon cards and they sell packages and they rent tables for competitions. And he's doing great with his high school degree. So I have 2 entrepreneurs. My 3rd son is my bonus son, and he just left to go to Florida to become a minister. So he's in college to become a minister. But let's go back to transportation. And I know you might want to put this in the chat, but an entry-level senior dispatcher with a high school degree. I want you to think for a moment, what do you think that dispatcher makes? Dispatcher has a high school degree. So take a minute, because I'm going to give you the range. And I think it's going to make you really intrigued. The range for an entry-level supervising dispatcher who's dispatching those trains that just get there on time starts at $83,534. And the range goes to $128,514. And that's a high school degree. So when you're thinking about what do you want to do, you have to look at the non-traditional places as well. Don't just think I want to work for the big shot firms or the big shot companies. What we do is essential. When we move people, there's rules that people don't know about. Did you know that a bus cannot arrive early to a bus stop? Because if I'm the passenger and I'm looking at that schedule, and the schedule says the bus is going to come at 2:04, and I get there at 2:04 or 2:03 or 2:02, and the bus doesn't come because it came early and I missed it, they're not allowed to do that. They can be late, but they can't be early to the bus stop because I'm following a schedule that they put out. And if I miss that 2:04 bus that came at 2:02, I might not get a bus until 2:34. And now I'm late for them. And what do we do with that? Now I'm tardy and I'm going to be disciplined for being tardy, but it wasn't my fault. So I can tell you in New York City Transit that they make an announcement on every train and on every bus with the time, so that every operator knows what time it is, and they match their watch to the time that's stated by New York City Transit. We make sure that happens. In Metrolink, we make sure it happens as well. Now, obviously, COVID has hit all of transportation very hard. We did have to pull back some of our lines, and we're working very hard to bring our ridership back. But people are coming back remotely, and we're trying to keep up with that and make sure we listen. We have board meetings every month where the public's invited to say their piece and to say, I need line 114 back. We need to change the timeframes, and we listen to our customers. But what's more important for me to tell you today is when you're thinking about your careers, I want you to think outside the box. I want you to think about, as Dr. Scott said, these infrastructure careers, because you can go so far that, and we always have positions open, from entry level positions, and we have people who are entry level who've moved up the chain of command to executive leaders. We have training. We offer one thing that transportation will offer you to this day. We have incredible health benefits. We have a defined pension plan. We have opportunities. We have tuition reimbursement. So if you come in as a dispatcher with a high school degree and you decide you want to go back to school because you see another position that you're interested in, or you want to move into a different area of transportation, we have tuition reimbursement. And that's just some of the things. We have paid vacation, we have sick time. Metrolink is semi-civil service. So we have the same benefits. We have CalPERS, we have pension. At this point, we pay 80% of your benefits, you pay 20%. Some of it with some of our unions, it's 90-10, you pay 10% of the benefits, and the benefits are broad, great, phenomenal healthcare benefits. They used to be called the Cadillac plans. I call them the Rolls-Royce plans now. And I'm a muscle car enthusiast, so the Rolls-Royce plan is what we offer. We have, in Metrolink, I can say to you very, very well that I've been in Metrolink since March. So it's just 6 months. And I could probably name every single employee that we have because we interact as a family. That's another thing that happens in these groups, in these agencies. You're not a number. You're not a desk. You're not a seat. You're a person. We get to know you. Our CEO, Darren, our new CEO to us, just as our prior CEO, Stephanie Wiggins, who left us. And I'll tell you that a term that we used in New York when Stephanie announced she was leaving, and Dr. Scott knows this. We were in an executive team, and I said, "You're a flat lever." And she said, what are you saying? I'm a flat lever. I said, "You're a flat lever." And I explained that in New York, when we were young and we were kids playing in groups, if I was playing in a group with Isaiah and Mr. Castro and Bev Scott came over and said, "Hey, Alyssa, my group over here 3 blocks away, we're playing this game." And I said to my group, "I'm going out. I'm going with Bev. I'm going to play the other game." They would say, "Flat lever, you're leaving us to go to a different place." So I explained that to Stephanie Wiggins. I said, "You're a flat lever. You brought me in, and now you're leaving to go to Metro."
Mhm.
But Stephanie also, she started something called the Coffee Break with Stephanie. And 3 times a week at 2:30, we have a Zoom meeting where the CEO comes on the Zoom meeting. The entire agency is invited to join, and we just talk. We tell each other what's going on, and it's not work related what's going on. It's what's going on in my personal life, and we argue over sports teams, and we talk about events that are happening, and we all get to know each other, and it's a family oriented type place. You don't get that in a lot of big corporations. You don't get that family feel and that I'm a person and somebody knows my name. You know, the old TV show Cheers, where everybody knows your name. That's what it's like at Metrolink. And we have a lot of vacancies right now. We did have a hiring freeze. We're opening up our vacancies. Take a look at them, see what they are, get inspired by what we have to offer, and how you can be part of this very important industry of helping people get where they need to go, and helping people go where they want to go. And we're taking cars off the road. We're reducing the carbon footprint. We're looking at electric trains. We're looking at climate change. We have all sorts of things going on. We are, obviously COVID has kept many of us home if we're not essential in the field. Yesterday, I put out an email. We're going to have a trunk or treat event at one of our locations. So we put out an email for all of our staff. They're all invited to come to one of our locations, park their car, decorate their cars, bring their families themselves, dress up in costume, and go from car to car and trick or treat in a safe environment. And bring the family, bring whomever you want. I told them I want people to come as singles, with their partners, with their spouse. My husband and I will be there because our kids are old and they're not coming. But we're going to dress up and we're going to go. And I joke with the staff all the time. I send out a lot of emails using my Brooklyn roots. So the trunk or treat is going to be a lot of fun. One of the things that we offer our employees is DoorDash. We have a deal with DoorDash. So for $7 a month, they get the full Dash Pass and don't pay any fees on delivery and partial fees on service. And every month DoorDash sends me a listing of how much our employees saved and how much they spent. And the savings are amazing, especially, and you can use it anywhere in the whole world. So I'll be in New York next week. And if I decide one night that I don't want to leave the hotel room, I can call DoorDash. I can go on DoorDash and they'll deliver whatever food is in the area right to me. I pay $7 a month for that. I don't have to pay the full DoorDash fee. We're always looking for things like tickets at work, where you can go and find discounts through we sponsor it. The employee gets to go and find discounts for everything, Knott's Berry Farm and Knott's Scary Farm and Universal Studios and Disneyland, which, by the way, I've never been to. I've been to Disney World a good 40 times, but I've never yet been to Disneyland. I'm looking forward to that trip once, COVID relaxes a bit. But I want you to think more. I want you to think about infrastructure, and I want you to think about these jobs and the benefits of these jobs and the longevity in these jobs and the security of these jobs. We went through COVID and we lost about 75% of our ridership. We didn't have a layoff. We did not lay off a single person. Hospitals lost elective surgeries and weren't able to have full services available. Hospitals had layoffs. And you would think during COVID, hospitals wouldn't be having layoffs, but they did. But our transportation agency didn't have a single layoff, and we lost 75% of our ridership. But that's because we have to pivot. And that's what we're doing right now. We're pivoting from the commuter rail to the passenger rail. To, like I said, we're going to get you to the game. We're going to get you to the Olympics when the Olympics happen, get you to the concerts that you want to go to. And our jobs range in every single title that you think of. So when you're looking for a position and when you're ready to look for what do you want to be when you grow up, which I'm going to tell you now, I'm 55 and I still wonder, what do I want to be when I grow up? But when you're looking, think about what we do. Think about making the difference in people's lives, because we make a difference every day. Think about how you could make a difference, and think about the fact that you could fit in to a non-traditional job. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. My information will be available. Put it in the chat. I'll answer any questions when it comes time. I know that we need to let Stephanie Burke from LA Metro, my partner there, speak, because she stole my CEO. And really keep in mind that it's not, the train and the bus doesn't just show up. We're the ones who make it show up. We're in the background. And there's a whole lot of us doing that. And thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something about other places to look and the non-traditional, and the fact that you're welcome in these areas. We want you to fill our positions. We want you to grow. And before I leave, I just want to say, we talk about a succession plan. And many times leaders are asked, what's your succession plan? And that's a very uncomfortable question, because the first thing we think is, are you going to fire me? And you want to know who's going to take my place? Who do I want to take my place? But that's not what the succession plan is. The succession plan is, how are we going to move it forward? Because as we leave, we need you to come in and fill our shoes, and not only fill our shoes, but bring us the bigger shoe, and bring us into the next level, and bring what you have in your backpack into our organization, and unpack it and say, you know what? I think you can make this change, and I think we can make that change. That's our succession plan. You, the students, are our succession plan, and we're going to rely on you. So keep us in mind. Think about the opportunities that we have. And I look forward to meeting some of you. Thank you for your time.
Alyssa, thank you so much. This is great. And before we go over to, we got LA Metro right over there. So just a couple of things to put checkpoints by, okay? One, the range of positions. And you heard Alyssa said, well, I was in healthcare, I went to transportation. Now, healthcare is an infrastructure sector, is one of the infrastructure sectors too. Transportation is one. You heard me and you heard Alyssa, she talked about New York. I've worked in New York, but when you heard me open, I said I've worked at 9 transportation systems all around this country, and run for whatever. But the point I'm making is that, yes, you could stay and be right where you are, and this is home, but these are also very good positions that if you decide, you and your family, that you want to move and as you continue on, these are positions, water sector, transportation sector, that you won't have to worry about whether or not there will be one of them wherever you're choosing to go, because we are essential services. Why could public transportation still, Alyssa, be able to say with everything that happened with COVID, we did not have to lay off? And the reason was because when they took the look, and it's been rough for everybody, but when they took the look out of Washington about who should get funding, they looked at almost 40% of the essential workers in this country that still had to get, whether COVID notwithstanding, that still had to make normal happen, were using public transportation in order to be able to make it during the COVID. So they said, look, these are the folks that are keeping the lights on, that are keeping the toilets running, that are keeping the keeping the hospital. So we need to make sure to make them a priority in terms of this bridge funding, if you will, that helps to provide that stability. And then we want everybody to, get everything you want, because you'll be learning all your lives, okay? Continuous learning. But these are also positions, Alyssa said, look, let me just be real clear. With a high school diploma, and you're going to need to have, now, you're going to have to compete now. We're not talking about, but with a high school diploma, you would be eligible for this position goes, it's like $83,000, okay? And we're not talking about overtime. Then you start talking about the benefits, okay? And I'm saying these are still positions where you get paid vacation, you get paid holiday time, you wind up being able to learn and earn at the same time. So the tuition reimbursement programs and stuff. So as what we're trying to do in this program is to really not promising people a chicken in every pot, because you got to work, okay? But at the same time, to try to open your mind, just open your eye, your thinking. Because I know when I was in high school, nobody was telling me this kind of stuff. I didn't know. I mean, I knew what I knew. I wrote on the bus every day, but I never deconstructed to understand that everything that I really enjoyed, okay, the marketing types of things, the policy analysis, the planning types of stuff, I never in my wildest dream ever thought that I would be able to say that I was honored and privileged to have been able to get that out of the public transportation sector. Okay, and I'm saying, and so anyway, that's what we don't want to over preach it, but that's one of the things we just keep trying to, open eyes, and you can be, and we want you to be the change that you want to see. Okay, because this is your future and we're all counting on you all. So with that, Alyssa, thank you so much.
And Dr. Scott, if I could just say, right before we started, I don't know if any of you heard us, I was talking about my trip back to New York tomorrow on Friday, tomorrow. I'm going back to New York to go to the wedding of the son of the chief people officer of New York City Transit.
Oh,
that's it.
So that's the reason for my trip. So my New York City Transit roots are deep. And just very quickly, one of the other things that we did there, and I'm going to bring here, is some more charitable events. New York City Transit has a charity drive every year. The year I was there, I said to my department, we were running it every year, a different department ran it. I said, well, why don't we do a cookbook? And they all said, do a cookbook. What's a cookbook? I said, let's do a cookbook. Let's get recipes. We have 45,000 employees. Let's get recipes. And there's a company called Cookbook Publishers, and I'll type them. It's okay. I don't have a problem. Got the recipes, made the book. MTA's slogan is MTA going your way. We titled our cookbook, New York City Transit, Eating Your Way. We made $10,000 for charity, to give to charity on that cookbook. So you even get to do that type of work when you're working in public service like that. You get to be involved in charitable organizations as well. I'm a member of the National Association of Railway Businesswomen. We're going to be working with Dr. Scott on I just came up and said to them, let's do some mentorship programs. Let's get some young women into the program and mentor them and help them and educate them. So I know I have to turn this over to Stephanie, but there's so much to say. And I just hope that this is inspiring to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alyssa. And so this is great. And make sure and bring those New York bagels back when you come. Okay. And now we want to turn it over to that LA Metro crew. This is going to be just as inspirational because Stephanie's going to take us through. Well, how did Stephanie kind of, how did the cow eat the cabbage? I'm old fashioned. How did I get into this? And like, what has been my journey? And I'm delighted too to see Maria Melendez. Okay. And hi, Maria. And Maria is like the executive director. I call them like these chief people officers around, but I'm going to turn this over to Stephanie, and she's going to give you a little bit about what her journey has been like. And, I told you in the opening, that LA Metro, they're the third largest public transportation agent, but they are bigger. They really do. It's under their umbrella. They have planning, they have operations, they have a lot of, so they're what we would call a very robust, okay, as nationally the transportation agencies go. They got a lot under their house, and we're just so proud that they are part of the program. So here we go, Stephanie, take it away, okay?
Thank you, Dr. Scott. Thank you for the lovely introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I have a PowerPoint to share with you and some videos. So can you guys all see that?
Yeah, it's loading up right now.
There goes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, it was good.
All right. So, okay. I apologize. Just give me 1 moment. I want to do it in presentation mode.
Yeah, you're good.
You're good.
Okay. So, hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Burke. I'm unable to see you all because I'm sharing my screen. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please put them in the chat or raise your hand. So I'm excited to be here representing LA Metro. As Dr. Scott said, I'm going to share with you all a little bit about me and about my career pathway, as well as some of what the opportunities are at LA Metro. You heard from Alyssa about some great opportunities at Metrolink. And I want to share also that I'm from Chino Hills, California, so Inland Empire. I'm excited that you all are in my area. I'm actually here tuning in from Chino Hills. I live in Chino now, but here in the IE, so excited to be here. So I started my career in public service. As you can see, this first kind of bubble on my career pathway was for the city of Irvine. And I've always worked in the public sector. So I went to college, I graduated with a degree in criminology, and I really wanted to work in law enforcement. So I moved immediately to an entry-level position at the LA County Sheriff's Department as a security assistant. And what my role was in that position was to check fares on board the buses and trains. So it was really my first introduction to a Metro's transit system and to really transportation in general. So I had never, I never took transportation because living in Chino Hills area, there really wasn't a whole lot of public transit. So that was really my first introduction into transportation. I got the opportunity to work for LA Metro. There's a position that was posted. They were looking for somebody with a criminology degree and some background in law enforcement. And so that's how I got into LA Metro. Kind of a lot of people will share how they got into their careers, that it kind of fell into their lap. And that's basically what happened with me at Metro. From Metro, as soon as I started working there, I learned about all the incredible benefits they have. As Alyssa mentioned, at Metrolink, they have great healthcare packages, tuition reimbursement. So Metro offers the same things. And I took advantage of tuition reimbursement. I got my master's degree. Metro paid for a really good portion of my master's degree, which was incredible. It was an incredible help, financial help from me. Throughout my career at Metro, I've been fortunate to be part of several leadership development programs. I even went and got a couple of certificates that Metro also funded through tuition reimbursement. And I was able to move from the security department to the talent development department. And now I'm I work in workforce development. So Metro is an incredible organization, and just transportation in general, because you're able to learn a lot of different skills that are going to allow you to move throughout the organization. So my career pathway is a little interesting just because I went from that security law enforcement background to workforce development where I am today. So it's all about those transferable skill sets. I'm going to share some of those transferable skills with you all about, what skills you guys need to think about and maybe work on in order to get a job within this industry. So what I currently do at LA Metro, I'm a project manager in the Next Generation Workforces Department, and I get to work with youth. And it's a really incredible opportunity. I get to work with high school students on exposing and educating them to careers in the transportation infrastructure industry. And we are working on really expanding that for all of LA County, and we'll be opening up a school here in a little bit. And Maria Melendez, who's also on the call, my DEO, or Deputy Executive Officer, she oversees the school. So very exciting stuff that we're doing at LA. We're really trying to teach the next generation about what a career in transportation could look like and how many opportunities there are. All right, so with that said, I'm going to move on. So as I said before, we're going to talk a little bit about LA Metro, what it is. Dr. Scott said we're the third largest, but there's also some other fun facts about us. I'm going to talk about the diversity of careers that Metro offers, what some of our major youth programs and initiatives are. So as I said, the programs that I currently work on and I work in alignment with. What are those skills to be successful? And then lastly, what's Metro's impact on people, community, and society? Just to show you a little bit more about what kind of an impact working in public transportation has within the community. All right, so this is a snapshot of LA Metro. We are the third busiest transit system in the United States. We have a 13-member governing board. We employ over 11,000 people. So we're very proud of that. We have just over 8,000 employees within our operations department alone. Pre-pandemic, we did have 1.2 million rides per day. Those numbers have shifted a bit since the pandemic has hit. We have over 105 miles of light rail and heavy rail, and we're continuing to build out our light rail and heavy rail system. So we are just expanding even further all over Los Angeles County. We have 2,300 buses on 165 bus routes. So a lot of buses out there, a lot of trains, a lot of miles for train cars. We also have 539 miles of freeway HOV lanes. So that's the high occupancy vehicle lanes. And our annual budget is $7.2 billion. So pretty large budget. We have a lot, as Dr. Scott mentioned, we do planning and building, not just operating trains and buses. We do a whole lot here at Metro. So it's very exciting. In 2016, what we did is we passed a measure called Measure M. And that measure is a no sunset sales tax, which means that LA County residents are going to be paying a little bit extra sales tax forever until they decide we don't want this anymore, which we hope they never do, because it's a really great tax measure. And what this does is it's going to build more rail systems. It's going to help our freeways. As you all know, LA traffic is horrible, right? Which is why we have Metrolink that helps us get into LA. I personally take Metrolink. So it's fewer bottlenecks. We're going to make our entire transit system run more effectively with this sales tax money. It means that we'll have more jobs. So, in the next 40 years, we are going to be hiring like crazy. There's going to be a lot of opportunity here at LA Metro. So these are just a couple of our, advertisements that we had for the Measure M, and it, we're about 5 years into Measure M now, and we are working on a lot of those projects as we speak. So it's very exciting. I want to just note that because of this measure, this tax measure, and because of all this funding that we are receiving to build our system further, we are going to need a lot more employees, which is why we want to get you all excited about careers in transportation, because it's the future. So I'm going to pause there. And I believe your professor has ability to do some chat. So I want to ask you all, what kinds of careers do you think LA Metro has to offer? So if we're able to ask that in the chat, that would be great, or answer that in the chat.
I just received a message from one of the students. They just said like train conductor. That's one of the obvious ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a great one. It's a train operator is a really great career. But yes, that is a career that Metro has to offer. Dr. Scott asked if we have nurses. We do not have nurses. What about the stations? Nurses at the stations, Dr. Scott? No, we don't. What we do have right now that's similar, we do have a bunch of COVID pop-ups around our system. So because, we're in the middle of a pandemic, we do have healthcare professionals that are administering vaccines around our system. So you can take Metro to get your vaccination, which is cool. All right, thank you. Any questions are great.
Yeah. One of the students also asked me if you guys had any like social media related jobs.
Oh yeah, we definitely do. We have a pretty big social media presence. So we do have folks that's what they do. They do social media postings and, videos, lives, Facebook lives, Instagram lives. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
So I want to go ahead and just pause here and show you guys a video about what kinds of careers we have at Metro. Some of these may surprise you. So this is a short, about 1 to 2 minute video. So let me know if you guys can't hear it. Okay.
When you think of Metro, you think of...
I'm going to pause. Can everybody hear that?
Yeah, the sound's working.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's continue.
Moving people in the city by bus service or by rail service. And Metro, we do a lot more than just bus and rail service.
We are in planning, construction, operations, and maintenance of a transit project, and not many other cities can say that.
We have the ability to connect people from the South Bay to the East Side to the Valley in a way that we haven't really seen before.
Right now, we've got a plethora of projects going on, the most of any transit agency in the country.
Metro Operations is responsible for the safe, on-time, and reliable transportation of all of our riding public.
In order to implement large infrastructure projects, you have to work with many different departments.
Teamwork at Metro is everything.
Being able to leverage the strengths of everyone on the team, bringing them together, really helps us achieve our end goal of delivering good service.
I've really enjoyed working with the people in Metro. I think the professional growth that I've had at Metro has been tremendous.
Working at Metro, I have the opportunity to be part of planning and implementing the future of transportation here in Los Angeles.
We're going to be contributing to society, we're providing an essential service to the community.
The hiring process for me, I was actually found through an executive recruiter, and the executive recruiter found me via LinkedIn.
I did apply online. I interfaced with an individual at Human Resources, and she walked me through the process.
There are so many different departments at Metro. By working hard and going above and beyond, they're going to be very successful and be able to work their way up.
One of the things that I love most about the work that I do is that I
Sorry about that, guys.
get to be very creative.
We are really changing the perception of mass transit.
We're seeing more people walking, biking, and taking transit.
There's a ton of projects underway and in planning here at Metro, and I can definitely see myself retiring here.
All right. So it looks like we have a couple chat questions. Let's see. Oh, yes. Do we have people who do marketing? Yes, we do. We have a huge marketing team. Actually, the video that you all just saw, that was from our marketing team. They did a wonderful job. And yes, Alyssa, thank you. Metrolink does. I've definitely tagged Metrolink in a lot of my posts before too. So it's very fun. All right. So I want to ask, what surprised you about the careers discussed in the video? Anybody wants to send it in the chat or let Isaiah know? What surprised you?
Yeah, Dr. Scott said in the chat so many young people, but one of the observation most students had kind of bounces off of that too. They noticed that there were many different like races and identities that were being represented in that video. Because in their words, they thought it would be all old white people. So so yeah.
Yes.
There was a lot, way more diversity than they thought. So
Metro is a very diverse organization. We are very proud of that. In fact, we just stood up an equity department about a year ago that is completely focused on, just making it Metro an even more equitable place to work than it already is. So I appreciate that observation. We are very proud. We believe that the diversity that we have at Metro makes us a much stronger agency. So thank you. All right. So what are the key jobs available within the sector? So what I want to just share with you here on this slide is these are all of the different functional units within Metro. So we've got operations, that's our big one, right? We have human resources, which is kind of the bubble that I work under. We call it human capital and development, but it's human resources, right? So this is the recruiting of folks that your pension and benefits people, when you have to go out on leave, that's what they do. We also have a finance and budget department. So, we hire accountants. We have people who are really good with finances. So if you're a numbers person, you have a career here at Metro. We have a large engineering department. As you saw, we're building a whole lot of projects, which are going to need a whole lot of engineers, right? We have a construction team for all of our mega construction projects. These are, when I say construction projects, I mean, we are literally digging holes in the ground for subway systems. We are building bridges for trains to go across. So really exciting, especially when you work at Metro, you get to do tours of our construction projects. And those have been some of my favorite moments of just going to go underground in a tunnel and get to walk on, future tracks that a subway would be on. I never thought in a million years I'd be able to do that. So that's a really exciting part about working at Metro. There's a huge planning department. We are the planner for the entire region. So we plan all the transportation within the region, which is really exciting. Communication. So I think there was a question about our marketing team. Our marketing team falls under communications. We have an environmental group, right? So we are very focused on environmental projects and programs, as well as sustainability. Taking public transit is a sustainable way to travel. So we try to promote that. We have civil rights and inclusion department. We have an equity department. We have auditors. We have an IT department. So those are the folks that are continuously innovating to make sure our technologies are new and efficient. Our Office of Extraordinary Innovation, that's a new department. That are not a new department, but new-ish to the agency. It's only been around for about 6 years. And what they do is they try to think of all the innovative things that we could possibly do, what kind of partnerships we could have. There's a risk department that looks at, the different safety, corporate safety things, that sort of thing. Again, security and law enforcement, that's where I came from before I moved into the human resources area. And then we have vendor contract management. So these are all of the folks that do our contracts. This is the folks that manage our supply chain. I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of kind of buzzwords about supply chain issues, right? Well, at Metro, we have a huge supply chain department. We've got thousands upon thousands of pieces and parts in this massive warehouse. So something really cool is when you work at Metro, you get to go check that out. Could even work in that unit. And within that vendor and contract management department, we do have a small business unit. So I see Dr. Scott asked, you do a lot with small businesses. Absolutely. Metro is all about connecting the community, and that it includes our small businesses. So we have a whole small business program. I will tell you, we ran a leadership program a couple years back, and we catered it with all the small businesses that are along Metro rail lines. So it was really great. We got to eat some really good food because, you know, eating is fun. Good food is always a good thing. So we do a lot of work with our small businesses. Yes. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about the work that I specifically do that is related to our next generation, to our workforce programs. So this is our department oversees, programs that impact underserved communities within LA County. We focus on youth, veterans, and justice impacted populations. So what I want to really highlight is our this top part here that says Metro's Transportation Gateway Programs. So you'll see a couple acronyms there, and a funny thing about transportation is we love our acronyms. I mean, we have like 1,000 different acronyms, but I'm not going to bore you with that. Instead, I'm just going to share with you a little bit about what kinds of programs that we have that focus on high school and college students. So we have our Metro Internship Program and our entry-level trainee program. So our Metro Internship Program, this is a program that you can attend if you are currently getting a degree, either an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a graduate degree, it doesn't matter. It's current students, as well as U.S. military veterans. And you have an opportunity to explore career opportunities within transportation. It's a 2-year program, or it's a 1-year program with a 1-year extension. And I had it in my notes how much it paid. So if you could just give me 1 sec, I want to make sure I get that. It's $14 an hour for undergrads and $16.15 an hour for grad students. So I believe it's a little bit above minimum wage. And our entry-level trainee program is $22 an hour with 40 hours a week. So entry-level trainee is going to be a recent college graduate, either college graduate from undergrad or grad school, and you get starting pay at $22 an hour with an up to 2-year contract. We'll teach you, we'll train you, we'll introduce you to the industry, we'll give you some valuable employment skills to help prepare you for your future in transportation. I will tell you, when I graduated college, I had no idea this program existed. And I truly wish somebody would have told me because I would have been able to, get that experience. Every job I applied for after I graduated college was always, you don't have enough experience. You don't have enough experience. And it's like, well, obviously I don't have enough experience. I just graduated college. I'm trying to get the experience. So, I love this program. We've had a lot of our interns and a lot of our entry-level trainees that have converted to full-time Metro employees. We've had folks that have, gotten the experience here and moved to another transportation agency. As you heard Alyssa's story, she started in New York City Transit. Now she's at Metrolink. Our CEO, Stephanie Wiggins, she's worked at several transit agencies. She's led now 2 of them. And so it's a wonderful kind of career that allows you to move around the country and the world. We've had people move to Saudi Arabia to work on their railroad system. We've had folks move all over the country. So if you think about it, transportation exists in every single city, major city in the United States and in the world. So think about that. Think about the opportunity that you have to move, to take these skills with you and move within anywhere you want. I actually talked to a colleague yesterday who was looking at working at Hawaii Transit because he loves Hawaii. It's an opportunity, just saying. So I'm just going to check. Okay, no more questions in the chat. So what are some skills? Oh, Isaiah, you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, a student, they just asked if you guys have like a referral program, like if you like get like a family member or a friend. I'm assuming they didn't like clarify what referral program, but I'm assuming like if you get like a friend or a family member to join, like if you guys have any kind of like bonuses or something like that, because I would assume they have someone that's interested. So
that's a great question. We're currently we're trying to hire 800 bus operators, and we do have a referral program for that. I believe it's a $500 stipend for current employees if you refer someone. And if somebody does sign on as a Metro bus operator, they'll get an additional $10,000 as a sign-on bonus. So that's really exciting for us right now. We really are trying to build our system and get those, get people moving. So great question.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so here are some skills. As I said earlier, that, you know, we'll train you at Metro. We'll train you for the technical piece of it. It's these employability skills or kind of these soft skills that I want you to think about. And this is what makes you successful within a career in transportation. So it's conscientiousness, right? It's thinking about, what is our impact and are we being fiscally responsible? Because again, in public transportation, you are using taxpayers' dollars. So it's very important to think about that and think about your impact. Familiarity with technology. So being comfortable with technology, which I am sure all of you listening in are very comfortable with technology, especially over the last couple of years where we've had to kind of shift to this virtual environment. So that's really important. A desire to serve. So again, in the public sector, you are serving the community members. So you have to have that desire to serve. It's really important for the work that we do. A sense of community. As Alyssa said at Metrolink, they're a family. At Metro, we're a family too. And you'll find that within the transportation infrastructure industry, it's big, but it feels very small because people know each other, they make connections, people kind of cross-collaborate on projects. I think you guys are going to get a presentation from APTA. And they're really phenomenal at making those connections and giving us the space to connect with one another within the industry. Creativity. So again, when you're working with a tight budget, you have to think creatively about things. How can we make an impact and create a change if we don't have a whole lot of funding? Private sector doesn't have that problem as much, right? Because they're going to have a little bit more funding, a little bit more flexibility with that funding. But in the public sector, we have to be very creative. And I think you might have seen in the video, our chief communications officer talked about that what she loved about her job is she got to be creative at work. And so that's a really great opportunity. And then lastly, agility. So we are the lifeline for people to get to work, to school, to doctor's appointments. And we have to be agile. We have to be flexible when things like the pandemic hit. So it's really about okay, we're going to adapt and we're going to change now and we're going to change again and we're going to do this. Why? Because our commitment is to our patrons, our customers. We have that desire to serve. So those are some skills to think about. If you are looking at these and you're saying, yeah, I like all of these things and I think I can align with all these things, then please come apply at Metro. And then I'm just going to show you all one last video. I want to show you how we impact the community, the people, and our society. So this is our Metro story. It's only about a minute and a half. 5 seconds.
I like to get up early in the mornings knowing that I'm going to be able to help people. You help them go home, you help them to go to work, doctor's appointments. I feel like $1 million when I'm able to help somebody and they give you a smile when they see you coming.
For so many years, the story has been the only way that you can get around LA is by a car. We are going to change the story of traveling in Los Angeles. This is about a picture for Los Angeles County that has different ways for different people to get to the things that they want to do.
I love my job a lot. I go home at the end of the day knowing I save a lot of lives, and it's like I say, I treat everybody like if it was my own family out there.
The goal of First Last Mile is to focus on those micro conditions that can make or break someone's decision to take transit. We're looking at the nitty-gritty conditions of the streets around our stations, the connections to our communities at a level of detail and with an eye that we haven't turned toward the community in the past.
Transportation agencies are morphing into much more than just moving people. We are not your grandmother's transportation agency. We are beginning to step into leadership voids all over the region. We are becoming a non-traditional entity that is an economic driver.
All right. So I wanted to, it looks like I have some things in there. So, oops, there we go. All right. So, okay. That was from Dr. Scott. Thank you, Dr. Scott. Does anybody have any questions before we conclude?
Yeah, I just got one. This is for both Stephanie and Alyssa. I don't know if you want to unmute, turn the camera on, but they asked, do you think public transportation would ever replace the cars, or I guess private transportation?
I wish. Stephanie, which one do you want us to go first?
I'm going to go ahead and go first because I am going to take off and actually catch a flight. So use a little bit more transportation. I don't think that cars are ever going to fully be replaced, to be completely honest with you. However, what I do think is that our transportation systems nationwide, worldwide, always have the opportunity to get bigger, to improve, to make further connections. I think within Los Angeles, that's our goal. We're trying to hit every single neighborhood or region within LA so that we can move people more effectively and have that be their first choice instead of driving a car. So that'll be my answer. And Isaiah, I think you have my email, my contact, if you want to share that with the students. I'd be happy to answer any other questions, but I'm going to go ahead and tune out now. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Really appreciate it.
And I'll answer that question as well. I don't think that public transportation will replace cars, but knowing, especially in California, that we're moving to electric cars and all the rules that are coming in 2035 and the expansion, as Stephanie said, of public transportation, the expansion that we're going through right now, trying to make sure we hit every neighborhood, that we hit more places and we're more available. And the cost of taking public transportation is less than the cost of owning a car and insurance and all of that. And especially here in California, I have to tell you, when I registered my first car here, that could have given me a coronary. The prices of your registrations of cars here, I think, exceed prices in any other state. And if you think about it, getting to work. So one of the benefits that Metrolink and Metro both have is that we offer you free transportation. So for me to get to work in LA, and I live near Temecula, I have a Metrolink pass that's free for me to get to work. So right there in the industry, I'm saving hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You might have noted that I also am a classic car enthusiast, and I have a couple of classic cars that get 9 miles to the gallon. So you can imagine what my gas bills are when I take those cars out. But getting on the train or getting on a bus to get to work is you'd be surprised. It's relaxing. You can do some work. You can do your Instagram. You can do Twitter. You could do Facebook. And you don't have to worry about the car in front of you stopping short or getting in front of you or not using their directional. And so while I don't think it's going to replace vehicles, I think the more we grow, the more people are going to see the benefit of taking public transportation.
Thank you, Listen. And then we actually did have a question for you earlier, but we didn't get a chance to like do questions at your part. But one of the people asked, Ms. DeCasperis, you've had a very non-linear trajectory in your career. Would you say you have any regrets, and would you have done anything differently?
I have no regrets. I'm sorry, I'm coughing. That's due to a allergy. I have no regrets, and I have a theory that you can't regret anything that you've already done. You can only regret what you haven't tried. So I have no regrets. I think everything went the way it was supposed to go. I think and it is a very strange, if you look at it, it's very strange. But I can tell you, remember I said earlier, what do I want to be when I grow up? I know that I want to become an arbitrator, a labor arbitrator. And I know that I can retire at 67 and I'll have a pension from CalPERS and I'll have a pension from New York. And as an arbitrator, now here's something to think about just for yourselves. Arbitrators don't need law degrees. Currently, the minimum rate for an arbitrator for one day is $2,000 for one day of work. But if you're not chosen to be an arbitrator, you don't make any money, which is why it's my want to be when I grow up, meaning when I retire, goal. So that's why I've worked on both union side and management side so that I get the feeling for both how each side thinks. And that makes me what a lot of people in the industry call a unicorn, because I have both sides of the table. So yeah, but it's a strange trajectory. But it's all about looking for the next opportunity. And I also try very hard. I don't like changing jobs. So I was at the hospital for 4 years, and I've told my new CEO that I plan on being at Metrolink until I retire, which will be 12 years from now. But again, I don't have any regrets at all, because you can't regret what you've done. If you had opportunity that you didn't take, that's where you have a regret.
Yeah, thank you. That was awesome. One of the students also messaged me, and they said a very powerful story. Thank you. And I'm sure I'm sure there are a lot of people in Omar's classroom that even though they couldn't chat in it, I'm sure they would definitely agree or resonate with your story about not really having any expectations or knowing what the future will hold. But as long as you keep putting the work in, the universe and destiny will continue to work out itself. And look where you are now. And I'm sure everyone else that's in this classroom, I believe we're all bound to do great things. But I really like what you said about a linear trajectory is kind of overrated. Knowing what you want is kind of overrated too. So I really like the whole thing about being prepared for the unexpected. So
and I want to tell you guys something else that only recently have I shared because of our sponsorship with the American Heart Association. I told you guys I was 55. I know that seems like I'm an old lady, but I dye my hair, so you can't really tell. So I keep my New York 1984 hair and dye it. I had open heart surgery. I'm what they call a survivor. And with our relationship with the American Heart Association, and we're going to do the virtual heart walk, and we're going to have a Zumba class during the day, one afternoon for half an hour. Public service and civil service gives you the opportunity to do a job, even with a disability, even with an accommodation, that despite what the law says under the ADA, private industries don't always follow. We're held to a higher standard. And my job specifically as Chief People Officer and Equal Opportunity Officer, and I deal with the DE&I and all of that, I say I wear my scar with pride because I'm still standing. And I appreciate when someone comes forward and says, hey, I have an issue, I have a concern, I have a challenge, I need help. I feel blessed to be able to help them through it without them wondering if they're going to have a paycheck or if they're going to lose their job or if they're going to be able to put food on the table. That comes with our benefits and all of that. So, you know, again, think about the non-traditional and the benefits that we offer as opposed to private companies and private businesses.
That's awesome. Thank you. And then Maria, you said you had a question. If you want to unmute, or actually no, she just asked, what do you guys help? What do you guys help students? I'm not sure what the question says, Maria, but I think she might be asking, how do you guys help students to be successful?
So one of the things, as I said, I've been with Metrolink now for 6 months. I'm going to bring you back to my New York City Transit time because I'm bringing this forward to Metrolink now. In New York City Transit, I recognized with 45,000 people that you could get lost in the shuffle. So I introduced a networking program for new staff and a mentorship program. And so we're doing that now. We're starting a mentorship program and a networking program and an orientation program that that'll probably start in the next 2 or 3 months. That every month, let's say we hired you all in March. In the month of April, there's going to be one orientation day where you get to meet the chiefs of all the different departments. They'll tell you it's a full day event, 20 to 30 minutes. Each of them will tell you what they do, what their department does, what their place is, and how to interact with them so that everybody, when you come in, you learn the whole system. Stephanie mentioned the acronyms. There really are truly hundreds of acronyms. We have a cheat sheet of acronyms to help people decide that. But I'm going to be bringing the mentorship program and the networking program into Metrolink so that when people come in, I know when you come in as a new person, I've been the new person, you feel maybe a little intimidated or uncomfortable calling another department, not knowing really what you're supposed to be asking or who you're supposed to be speaking with. So creating the mentorship and the networking program is a way that we'll be making sure that new folks, students, get to know other people and have someone they can go to confidently. There's no stupid question.
Maria also asked, will you provide, or do you guys provide helpful links regarding opportunities?
Yes, for both Metro and Metrolink, definitely check out our careers page. Metrolink, we're in the process of updating our careers page to make it more friendly. And if you take a look at it and you see positions that are of interest to you, all the information about the position is on, you click on it and they'll give you all the information. You can call our recruitment staff. They'll tell you, you know, I have an amazing HR staff of about 14 people who can answer all your questions about the recruitment process, how it starts. The one thing I say about HR is if you're in HR, you have to be human and resourceful. If you can't be human and resourceful, you're in the wrong place. So my staff they're friendly, they're helpful. So if you saw a position that you were interested in and you called and Belinda is my recruiter, you say, hey, Belinda, you know, I heard Alyssa at this presentation and I have questions about this particular position. Can you give me some information? She'll tell you everything that you need to know. But when you click on that link, it'll tell you what the minimum qualifications are, what we expect, what the job looks like. And if you have any other questions, you just give us a call. Like I said, we're family. And we touch every employee from the date of application. I say from hire to retire, because we don't want you to be fired and we don't want you to leave us. So from hire to retire. And that's how you find out more about the positions.
Thank you. And then Mauricio said, aside from these sessions, are there any social media platforms I can further follow on this?
We have an entire department dedicated to that, as does Metro. We have a marketing department, a communications department. We interact on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. And whether or not you decide to go into transportation, use LinkedIn. Join the groups that you're interested in. Put up your information. Start meeting people. Get recommendations. LinkedIn is incredibly powerful, and it's such a great networking place. But go on it, and not just to put your post, your page up, but look at the different groups that you can join that are of interest to you. Like I said, I learned about the National Association of Railway Businesswomen, and I joined them. And it's not the National Association of Corporate Railway Businesswomen. The women in this group in Southern California range in every title. They're not just the C-suite or the executives or the managers. They're the folks out in the field. They're the customer service relations representatives. And we're starting, like I said, with Dr. Scott, a mentorship program through that as well. LinkedIn is powerful. I use it. My husband thinks this is funny, but from my consumer fraud days, when I have an issue, and this is a secret, so I'm telling you a secret, but it really, really works. You have an issue with a company. Well, almost all companies have people who monitor the Twitter and the Instagram and all of that. But you can go on LinkedIn. First, you find out who the CEO is, and then you go on LinkedIn and you send them a message through LinkedIn, and you explain in a nice, kind manner what your concern is about something that went wrong with your stay at the hotel or with your restaurant or whatever. But at the same time, if something went right, you do the same thing. And you'd be surprised how CEOs respond. And now you have a connection with a CEO in a company that you can use going forward in your career. But make sure that you're not just doing it for complaints, and you're also doing it for good things. So for example, when I was hospitalized with the open heart, I went onto LinkedIn and I found the chief nursing officer for the hospital for the whole system. And I sent her a private message through LinkedIn telling her what great care I was getting and how impressed I was with the care that I was getting in that hospital. And I said, as a healthcare insider, right, having worked in healthcare, we always hear the bad stories because people are so quick to complain. But I wanted her to know that her staff at this particular hospital were incredible. And she was so grateful to hear those words. And she said, thank you so much for telling me something good. So at the same time as you may want to complain, which I've done, and I've gotten immediate response from corporate offices, I also send those LinkedIn messages to say thank you. LinkedIn is powerful. Use it to your advantage. Join those groups. Find the groups of the industries you're interested in. Follow us, follow Metrolink. We have all sorts of events. We had Bike Day, take your bike to work. We gave out a $10,000 bike. We have Insomniac events. We have all these different types of events, and we interact. So yeah, use LinkedIn, use Instagram. We're there. Follow us, talk to us. We'll answer you. Our CEO will answer you directly. So definitely social media is a prominent part of Metrolink.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to add that LinkedIn life hack into my little notebook as well. I'm not gonna lie. My LinkedIn is very, very empty. It just has my name and college. That's it. So, I definitely got to work on that one for sure.
And you know what? The other thing that we look at, just as as students, we don't just look at your work experience or lack of work experience. We look at your volunteer experience. We look to see what else you're doing. What else are you doing besides your job? Or if you're not working, are you volunteering somewhere? In New York, we were a foster family for a pet rescue. And we had a group of young kids everybody was a volunteer. And we had a group of young kids, and one of the young guys, was with the rescue for a long time. And he didn't have a full-time job while he was going to school. And he got into college based on a recommendation by the woman who ran the rescue, explaining what an integral part he played in helping adopt out the animals and caring for the animals and all of that. And that's what got him his first job. So, be involved, pay it forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much for that wisdom, Alyssa. That was priceless. And, words can't say enough for how grateful we are to have like you and someone like Stephanie to be like speaking to like all the students. I don't think we have any more questions. So, I think we could just wrap this up. Once again, thank you so much, Alyssa, for everything that you've done for like, America, your own people, your own communities, as well as thank you for speaking to these students, because, like having being able to like hear from figures like you, who've done the time and have like been through the runs. I'm sure that is worth way more than like any other one, being able to just like watch like a YouTube video about like a motivational speech or anything, but like, being able to like hear like someone like as raw and as unfiltered as you, like it's definitely like a breath of fresh air. And like I personally was able to appreciate that. So I know a lot of the other students were able to appreciate it as well. And then you see Omar via the classroom said thank you. And then Karina also says thank you so much. So, we're very, very
And I want to thank you for the opportunity. And I hope that the things that you heard from Stephanie and I and what you're going to be hearing going forward really give you that motivation to think outside the box.
Yeah, you guys are spitting facts. It was awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. Enjoy and stay safe and follow the rules.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alyssa. And now, in about like 10-15 minutes, guys, we are going to have the WTS scholarship overview. So if you want to stay over for that, that's going to be taking place in about 10-15 minutes. Yeah, thank you so much for being here for this class, guys. We hope you enjoyed Alyssa via Metrolink and Stephanie via LA Metro. They're very awesome people, and you guys could be in those shoes as well. But you could also be in my shoes as well. Continue to attend these IA sessions. You'll be eligible to apply for the IA internship. You could be talking with me, you could be vibing with me. We do these kind of programs all the time. We're trying to get our word out, put infrastructure on the map, basically. This is actually awesome for me because, Dr. Scott's usually here and she's usually doing all the talking. So, I don't really get my spotlight, my shine like that. But, yeah, Dr. Scott's amazing. She's a great person to be mentored by. And, just continue coming to these sessions. Honestly, like, even if you have no intentions of applying for the internship, and you're only here for if you're only here for the goodie bag, it's still a vibe. You're still learning way more than you thought you would. But also at the same time, if you haven't been paying attention to any of these sessions and you're only here for the IA internship, that's completely fine too. You're going to learn about way more opportunities like this WTS scholarship that's going to be coming up in about 10-15 minutes ish. And then we actually also have WTS and HDRs Lisa Reese that just joined as well. We're out here with Mrs. Reese and Mia. I don't know if you guys would want to like share your screen or present anything. I just had like this placeholder slide for you guys, but yeah, we're here to talk about WTS scholarships, them talking about the criteria and all that. But I'll stop talking. This is their spotlight, so I'll let you guys take over. So,
well, thank you, Isaiah. And I did I hear you right when you said there are 30 to 50 people in the room?
Mm-hmm.
That's super exciting. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm hoping that you all enjoyed your day and any of the previous days that you were able to tune in. And for those of you that were able to join us during the HDR session, we mentioned the WTS scholarship, and we're so grateful to have Mia here to share some information with you. But before I turn it over to Mia, I want to just give her an overview. WTS is a women's transportation professional society, and our goal in life is to advance women in transportation. And that starts with all at the beginning in the education process by encouraging women to choose careers in transportation, and then helping them with their educational endeavors by paying for their scholarships when we can. So we have a competitive scholarship application process. Our chapter has been, it's about 16 years old now. And we've given away, I would say, $500,000 in scholarships to Inland Empire women, young women pursuing careers in transportation. Now, when I say that, it could be any kind of career in transportation. That, you know, I'm a business development person. There are planners, there are engineers, there are inspectors, there are airplane pilots, there are mechanics, there are all kinds of people that make the engineering business work. And you're hearing about some of those potential entry-level positions that require certificates and training like that through community college. But we also, we fund scholarships from high school seniors all the way through graduate school. So there's a category for a high school, for community college, undergraduate and graduate school. That I don't want to steal Mia's thunder. I do want to thank her for her service and say that she's been a dedicated volunteer with WTS for several years and has led the scholarship committee, which I know from experience gives great satisfaction. One of the best days of the year is giving all that money away, right, Mia? Yeah, so fun. Anyway, I'll let you take it from here, and I'll be quiet unless anybody has any questions after your presentation.
Yes, thank you, Lisa and Saya, for inviting me over. And also, I'm so glad that we have almost over 30 people here. Our goal each year is to reach as more students as we can, to let them know that actually we have this scholarship program, so we can have more students to receive the scholarship. So I'm going to share the screen. So I will also do a brief introduction of our WTS. So we are called WTS Inland Empire Chapter, and our chapter was founded in 2005. And maybe you know or you don't know that WTS is actually a nationwide organization. So we have 60 chapters around the world, and our mission is to help professional women to advance their careers in transportation industry. As a student or maybe professionals, you actually can join our chapter as a member. So the benefit to our member that include regular seminars from distinguished speakers. So we actually have two programs. One is called professional development, and another one is launch sessions. So on both of those seminars, we will invite people who have dedicated their whole career into transportation industries. So they will talk about their experience, their difficulties, and how they can get interested into this industry during those seminars. And also we have an annual dinner each year. So in that annual dinner, we usually have over maybe 300 or 400 people participate, and then we will announce our winners during the annual dinner. It's a scholarship winners during the annual dinner, and also the winners' friends and families are also invited to the annual dinner as well. And also we have a mentor program that we match our younger members to experienced workers, so they can, so those people with years of experience, they can pass their experience and advice to the younger staff. And also, of course, we have the scholarships. And as Lisa said, those scholarships can be rewarded to from high school to the graduate school students. I will just do some introduction of myself and how I get into WTS. So I serve as a WTS Inland Inland Empire chapter as a scholarship chair for the last 2 years. And before that, I served as the chair of the professional developments. So I joined the WTS IE for about four years for now. But because WTS is a nationwide organization, so I actually joined the WTS when I was in Florida about 5 years ago. So no matter where you move, you can still join WTS from where you work. Also, the reason I joined at WTS is because that it will actually advance your social networks, because there are so many people you could know from the WTS and also the events it holds. And also you get a chance to work with the people that are really distinguished. And like Lisa, I know her just from WTS, and a lot of other people who serve on the board. They come from like public agencies, and some work for consultants. So they all come with different backgrounds. Some of them are like me, who are transportation engineers, and some actually work on something else, like they could do marketing, and also they could do the project management, or maybe they do administrations. So they all do different things for transportation industries. So that gave me a chance to get to know them and also get to know the work they do. So I do encourage students start to join WTS from their college, so they can start to benefit from WTS from the early age. Like some of our board members, they actually are the scholarship recipients when they were in college. And they start to join WTS and then serve WTS after they graduate. And so they built a really long, steady relationship with WTS and its members. Okay, then I will do some introduction about our scholarship. So our scholarship actually have two of them. One is called the Susan One Note Memorial Scholarship. That's for the undergraduate students and also for the high school senior students as well. And the other one is called the Helene Overlay Scholarship, and that's for the graduate students. So those two links here can lead you to where the application forms are. Last year, we started to launch the online application website, which make the application process much easier and also the review process easier as well. And here is a QR code. If you scan that with your cell phone, it will lead you to the WTS Inland Empire chapter. Let's see, so it will lead you to this Inland Empire chapter. And here it will give you some introduction about our chapter. And also at the bottom, you could find there's a link to the scholarship page. So once you click that, it will lead you to the scholarship page. As you can see that last year we awarded 45,000 to a total to the students. And also the application has already been started, and the deadline will be October 22nd this year. And the scholarship will be varied from 2,000 to 5,000, depends on the level. And here, those are the two scholarships I just mentioned. And then you can just click the link here, and it will lead you to the online application form here. So I will talk about our minimum criteria here. So because we are Women in Transportation seminar, So this scholarship is only open to women, and also the minimum GPA we required is 3.0. And also we will require you to enroll in a degree program in transportation related field. But it's not that just limit to like transportation engineer or transportation planners. If you do like aviation, transit, rail, business management, or finance, or public policy, you can still relate it to what you learn to transportation industry as well. Like if you do accounting, so you may become an accountant for the transportation industry as well, or maybe you are doing like a IT, you may become the IT support department for the transportation industry as well. So it's not just limited to the majors that are listed here. And also the last requirement will be you are either enrolled in the school of Inland Empire, so that's Riverside and San Bernardino counties, or you will need to be resident of either counties here. So if you have questions regarding your qualification, you can always contact me. So here is my email. So you can email me about your questions. I will try to answer it as detailed as possible. Like some of the recipients from last year, they may have question about like whether they can apply again this year. And that answer will be yes. Even you receive the scholarship last year, you are still qualified to apply this year as well. So no matter what question you have, just send me an email. And also, because we require some documents here, so on the application form, you can say there are submission requirements. So those are the documents you will need to submit through the application. So so that we include the transcripts. We just require official the transcripts to save time from applicants, and also I know some of school even require some cost or fees related to the transcript request. So you can just give us like even a screen share or maybe a copy of your transcripts. That works too. And also we would like to have a resume from you, and also 2 letters of recommendations. So it depends on whether the people who recommended you want to mail or email the recommendation letters to us directly. They can do that, or they can, or you can just get those recommended letters from those people and submit here. So either way works. And also we need a proof of enrollment. So it's just some documents that show that you are currently enrolled in the college. And also we would like to have a headshot of a photo and a short bio of yourself, and also the videos that talk about yourself. That assume that you are the winner of the scholarship. Then we will actually show your videos in our annual award dinner over hundreds of people and your friends and family. So we do provide some examples of the videos we would like to see. So you can see those examples and then just shoot a video about yourself as well. And also we would like to have a personal statement. So the statement, well, in the statement, I list a few key points that's here that make it competitive application. So in your personal statement, please state your interest, commitment, or involvement in transportation field. Some of you may already involved. That's great. Just state what you have done. But if for some of you, if you never actually get involved in transportation field, it's better to just state your interest in that and how your major can be related to the transportation field. And also please state your career goal in your statement as well. And also you can state your leadership achievements during your academic studies. Maybe you are leading a student chapter, or maybe you are the project manager of some of the coursework. So any leadership achievements, you can list that in your personal statement as well. And also there are two other things you need to pay attention. So please submit the application on time. So that will be before October 22nd. And also because we require you to submit your application from the online website, so we do require that in certain format. So please submit the materials in the format as we required. I believe we already listed that here, like like either we require a Word or require a PDF, and then how you name those files as well. Once you go to that page, you will be able to see that. So we will end the application at October 22nd, and then we will start the evaluation process in November. And there are 5 people in our review committee. So we will evaluate all your application materials together, and then rank them by the scores we give each of the applicants. And then we will announce the scholarship winners in December. And then we will start to send out the annual dinner invitation to the winner and his or her family and friends, so they can start to coordinate with the people that they want to bring with, and then the winners will participate the annual dinner in January there. So that's the whole process about the scholarship application and how it will evaluate. If you have any questions, you can ask me now, or maybe send an email later.
So I guess we can open it up to questions, but while we're waiting for somebody to raise their hand and ask a question, I would tell you that the easier you make it on the reviewers, the better off your chances. Submit on time, name the files the way they're asking, make it easy for the reviewers. Even if you've never had any knowledge of transportation in the past, truly what we're looking for is what are you going to do to make the world a better place? How would you use the funds that you might be awarded through this scholarship to make a difference in the world? And even if you're not quite sure that yet, if it's any way related to transportation and you're just getting started, we understand that. Though, be sure and ask your teachers for good letters of recommendation. Hopefully you've been a good student and you have folks that support you and will be willing to write those applications. And just by joining the MESA Club, which I understand a bunch of you are in the MESA Club, that's something to put on your leadership or achievements in your application. Think of all those things you've done, volunteering or community service hours to graduate, all those things. I would say make sure you have somebody spell check it and read it for you. Make sure that it's well written and that it has no grammatical errors. Those are the kinds of things that are easy to do, that shows that you've been diligent, even if you haven't fully explored the ideas of what your career might be in the future. Just being sure that you're I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, and that you've written something that's been spell checked and proofread and all that, along with good letters of recommendation go a long way. And I've been on the scholarship review committee several times on the local level and on the national level. And I can tell you, we've awarded scholarships for everything from, like airplane mechanics. You could even be getting your bus driver certificate, anything even entry level. If you can tell us what you're going to use the money for and it's related to transportation, we want to help you. And Mia said, we support our students once they get involved. If their applications are competitive, we've supported students all the way from high school through graduate school. There was one local girl from Victorville who went all the way from community college through her master's program in aviation and airport management. So it's all dependent upon you and your drive. There are people who want to help you. There's money to be had. I think we've given on average between 10 and 15 of those scholarships. So it's not like there's just one in each category. Last year we gave $47,000 away, between 2 and 5,000. And if you're the one or two top winners, we forward your scholarship applications on to our international scholarship committee. And I had the good fortune of, like I said, reviewing those scholarships last year. And we had 2 local candidates, one in each category, that made the final cut. So there's real money and there's a real network. I think Mia said, you don't have to be a woman or female to join this organization. We have lots of guys that are part of transportation and that are a member of WTS. They're on our chapter committees. They just are not available to win the scholarships, but we do have free memberships and free attendance at our events. A recent professional development event was last Friday. It was about finding your confidence in the workplace, about tips about how to present yourself and be more confident and more professional. And I think we had like 10 or 12 people on that call. It's usually a very intimate group. Our luncheons are a little bigger, and then the annual dinners are a big bash with like 300 people. And if you're fortunate enough to get one of those scholarships, it'll be a virtual meeting this year, but I'm sure we'll be back in person next year. At any rate, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know you've been on the phone and on the line a long time already. It's a lot to take in, but just know that WTS is here. We're encouraging you all to consider careers in infrastructure, whether it's transportation or some other field of infrastructure. I know, and I can assure you that you'll have a good long career, and the potential, the sky's the limit. A lot of the time you just get your foot in the door, and these employers have benefits, good salaries, vacation, paid vacation. They have pension plans, tuition reimbursement, all parental leave if you have a baby. These are really good jobs. So I hope you're all listening, and I hope some of you out there will apply for our WTS scholarships. And for sure, if and when you do, please acknowledge or make sure we know you're a San Bernardino Valley College student and that you participated in this program. That'll help us to know who from the group is applying. Anyway, I look forward to good news from Mia about how many applications we get from San Bernardino Valley College. And that's all I have, unless you all have questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. I received one question. A student asked, there's a lot to be submitting in this application. Do you guys have any tips on how to like take a step-by-step or not to get like overwhelmed about the whole process? Because there's definitely like a decent amount of things to submit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would start now. The first thing I would do is give your teachers or the coaches or the people in your life that you would ask to write the letter. I would ask them first and start working on your resume. First you want to go down, you want to download it, look at it, see what it is, and set yourself a timeline. I always work better when I work backwards from the due date, and I give myself a schedule of what I'm going to accomplish when, so that I can be sure not to be late. I would advise that you try and submit it the day before. That's always good. So in case there's some kind of glitch or something, you won't be late. But also, if you're smart about it, you could get the letters to, it doesn't have to say the WTSIE scholarship. If they just rave about you and what what kind of student you are and what leadership qualities or what they think you can contribute to the world of transportation. That it doesn't have to be addressed to me and Mia, and you can use that letter again for some future application. And the resume again will be something you can use. The personal statement is also something you can reuse. When you look at the applications for scholarships, not just WTS, but any scholarships in the future, you can keep massaging your personal statement and use it over and over again, but massage it to that particular field that you're applying for. So every effort that you make in applying for scholarships, whether it be WTS or one of the other areas, you can reuse a lot of this stuff. So do yourself a favor and start compiling it and keep a good file and make it easy for the reviewers. I can't say that enough. Do the things that we ask in the way that it's asked and get somebody to look it over. That's more than 1,000,000 miles in the right direction. If the file can't be downloaded, if it's not the right format, it makes it difficult if you don't name it properly and we don't see that here's your resume, here's your it's a lot to review. So do your best. And I would say if you have anything like again, Mia and I are both available. If you need mentoring, if you want to run something by us, if you want to show us your resume or your personal statement. Now, I'm not on the scholarship committee this year, so I could be an impartial coach. I can't guarantee you'll get a scholarship, but I'm happy to help. So I think Isaiah has shared my email in the previous presentations, but I'm happy to share it again. It's my name, lisa.reese@hdrinc.com. So easy peasy. It's a little bit of work, but it'll be worth it. Think about it. If it takes you 4 hours and you get $2,000, wow, that's like the best paying gig in the world. So I encourage all the young women in your classroom there to go for it if they have an interest.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lisa Reese and also Mia Gao. It is 5:30 now, so we will be wrapping up. Once again, thank you so much for showing up for the WTS scholarships, and also thank you guys for showing up for Metrolink and LA Metro. We will be emailing you guys all of these links for all things WTS related and all things LA Metro and Metrolink related. But you know what? Thank you so much, guys. We won't hold you here any longer, and we hope you guys have an amazing Thursday and amazing rest of the weekend. And thank you so much, guys, for everyone being here.
Thank you, Isaiah. Thank you, Professor Castro. We appreciate you. See you next time.
All right. You're all awesome, guys. All right. Talk soon. Thank you.